interview on the 5th of July 2016 for Our Roots, Our Journey, Our City. So first, can I ask you your name?
Yeah, my name's Mark Leadbeater.
And can I ask you how you first came into contact with the Bangladeshi community?
Yeah, I started working at Thornhill School in Sunderland in 1997. So that would have been my first encounter with the Bangladeshi community in Sunderland, with the population that was in school.
Right. So your initial meetings would have been with children?
Contact in the classroom. I'm a music teacher, so initially I was a music teacher, but then my roles throughout the school have developed as my career has progressed. But yes, contact would have been Bangladeshi pupils in school.
Right. And did you meet, have you met a lot of their parents since?
Yeah, as I say, as my career developed, I began a head of house. So as that pastoral role, I would have had encounters with Bangladeshi parents and have a wider understanding of the community. Recently, I have a role in school as a community cohesion officer, which again means I'm able to be involved in things within the city as well as school, which gives me contact with the Bangladeshi community.
Can you describe some of your initial meetings with the community?
Yeah, as a head of house and contact with parents, I've had contact there. Obviously sometimes there's a language barrier, which as a school we overcome with language support from two British Bangladeshi members of staff, which help. But overall, the contact is just get a great feeling of respect from the parents.
Mm. So there are people who can speak Sylheti in the school?
Yeah, we have two, Mr. Ali and Mr. Ali, who help running the schools to overcome any language barriers.
Right.
So, for example, attendance phone calls. If there's a pupil that's not in school, it's obviously very difficult for me to ring because of the language barrier, and we use the resources in school to communicate home.
Right. Have they been there since you started?
No, I don't think so. I think in 1997, I don't believe that was there. I think these roles have developed as the British Bangladeshi population in the school has grown, which I think currently we're very nearly at 30% of the school is British Bangladeshi. Right. So the need has been required for that member of staff.
Can you say a bit about how easy it was to interact and develop relationships with the community, either in terms of children or their parents?
How easy? Sorry, can you repeat that?
How easy it was to interact and develop relationships with people in the Bangladeshi community?
I have found it easy to develop relationships. During my time in school, I've been involved with the Connecting Classrooms project, which is a British Council funded project which allows Thornhill School and British schools to link with schools in other areas of the world. As a school, it was advantageous for us to link with schools in Chittagong, in Bangladesh. So we have some strong relationships with Chittagong schools, which enabled us to, myself and a number of other colleagues, visit Bangladesh for a couple of weeks and visit the schools. And when you've been asked to say that you visited this Bangladesh, and then very, very, very quickly, people in the Sunderland community, the Bangladeshi community, know that has happened, that is able to forge stronger relationships within the school.
Yeah. Well, when did you first go to Bangladesh?
I'm very fortunate to have been to Bangladesh twice. I went to Bangladesh in 2010 and again in 2013. And it was just a life-changing experience. I was treated like a king, visiting schools and school children throwing petals at my feet, giving me flowers every day as if I was a member of the royal family. It was just amazing. I remember one experience. I was in Dhaka airport, and this little boy came up to me, and he started talking to me, and I didn't recognise him. But then as he was talking, I recognised that he was speaking English, and he was speaking with a Sunderland accent, and it was actually one of our current pupils. Saying, "All right, so I'll sort of see you in September." Because what happens, obviously, sometimes our pupils will go to Bangladesh for a long period of time, 3 months, to visit family, or if a grandparent was poorly. And I'm just so lucky, really, to have the opportunity to go there, to go to Bangladesh and see it. In 2013, I was able to go to Saipur, which I believe is where the majority of the Sunderland Bangladeshi community originally come from. So I was able to go to the actual village. I remember being in a fish market in Saipur, and a former pupil who was in Bangladesh at the time came over and gave me a big hug, and it's just lovely to have contact with that community in Bangladesh and in Sunderland.
You said that your experiences in Bangladesh have impacted on your relationship with the Bangladeshi people in Sunderland. Could you say a bit more about that?
Yeah, I just think that the sort of like respect. It's like the Sunderland Bangladeshi community will know that I have visited Bangladesh, and I think that really just helps. Because they understand that I have a greater understanding of the community in Bangladesh. And I just think that helps to break down some barriers that may be there.
Have cultural differences ever been difficult to overcome?
Yes, I've had, as a music teacher, I have had a few cultural differences. I've always sort of struggled to get participation of the British Bangladeshi community in performing, in singing. We have regular school shows. It's very rare to see a British Bangladeshi pupil participate in that. I don't fully understand the barriers and religious or cultural barriers that are to that, but I do believe that they are there, and that's something that I would eventually like to overcome.
Mm-hmm. Is that has there been any progression there, or has it always been pretty much the same?
Pretty much always the same. There was one girl who had an excellent voice, and she did break some barriers and did perform on the school stage, was part of choirs, but it's something that unfortunately hasn't progressed.
Do you have a perception of the challenges facing the Bangladeshi community?
I think the challenges are for young people who have obviously been born in Britain and in Sunderland, to start a proper integration into sort of a Western culture. At the same time, potentially sometimes the generation or the couple of generations before having conflict when they see young people being very westernized, and so although I haven't really been in many Bangladeshi homes, I would imagine that coming to school and enjoying a full, rich curriculum and cultural sort of life in school, and to go home, then their behaviour it may be a little bit different, because I think there will be a conflict of cultures for the generations as they go back.
How does the school manage issues like that?
Well, at Thornhill School we have a really strong pastoral system, and we want to enhance. The ideal is that every young person is able to reach their full potential, and go on to university and become whatever they wish to become. So as a pastoral system and as a school, we work closely with all forms of the community to ensure that happens.
Do you think the Bangladeshi community itself is managing to overcome challenges?
Yes, I believe so. My perception is that the British Bangladeshi Sunderland population is integrated within the city, and is an absolute asset of Sunderland. And Sunderland, I think, is very, very, very lucky to have such a population in the city.
Could you say a bit about what you think the Bangladeshi community has contributed to Sunderland?
Yeah, I mean, you can just take a walk anywhere in Sunderland, and you will see signs of an integrated, multicultural city. Just like our school, it's an absolute asset. A vibrant, cultural, 21st century city, and we're very fortunate for the British Bangladeshis to be in that city.
Has racism ever been a problem?
I've been in school since 1997, and I honestly have very rarely come across any examples of racism in the school. I do see groups of children, young boys that may be, and girls who may be British Bangladeshi, and one group that may be white British. But I honestly do not see any examples of racism in the school. But I'm sure there's examples of racism within the city, but I haven't really witnessed any.
Since you started at this school and came into contact with the Bangladeshi community, do you think things have improved for them?
In what way improved?
In terms of their education in school, but as well your perception of the general standard of life.
Yeah, I also believe that the British Bangladeshi population in Thornhill School is a vibrant asset of the school. I've just come from an attendance meeting, and the attendance of the British Bangladeshi population in school is a higher attender than the white British. So to me that speaks volumes of the population accessing all areas of the curriculum and education at school.
What about outside of school? Do you get a perception of whether the quality of life's improving?
Well, the bit that I've seen, I'm heavily involved in Young Asian Voices, a sort of youth project, and witnessed young people taking part in youth projects, and taking part in extracurricular activities outside of school, in a youth project. So yeah.
Going off track a bit, could you tell me a bit about your work with Young Asian Voices?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to be on the management committee, and I'm just in awe of the organisation. Due to recent cuts and things, they find it very hard to exist, but they do exist due to the right people being in control. They have a strong working relationship with Thornhill School. You see youth workers on the yard at lunch times, at break times. They have a permanent base at Thornhill School. And it's initiatives like that that just help the integration of a multicultural school. Have a really major impact on us.
What do you think of the current state of integration?
Yeah, I think it's all positive. When I'm on duty in the yard, in school, if we're talking about in the school context, I very rarely see any problems. As I say, we have young Asian voices that come in at lunchtime. They monitor basketball, football, there's table tennis. There's lots of sporting activities that all help integration. And this is for everybody in the school, not just British Bangladeshi. Everybody, mixes and is part of school.
And finally, do you have any hopes for the future or ideas about how you think things could improve?
Well, I've been in school for 18 years now, and I've seen massive improvements within the school. Multicultural, mixed society, and I believe the school is like a carbon copy of the city. And I just, I'm sure and I believe that the school will continue to make progress as the city will.